that entire trip will represent Canada and Grand Prairie. So I'm already planning my wardrobe, which is a very lead singer thing to do, which I don't generally do, but I am planning that, yeah, to co-align with Sid.
Great. I'll just sort of look up to administration here and see if gentlemen, we able to do any audio. Okay.
No matter what we do, you be there for me. I will be there for you. Spring by my spring by my all problems we solve, no matter big or small. We'll pick each other up anytime we fall. You can lean on me, and I can lean on you. We'll rise up like the beautiful sun. We'll always get through, even though we struggled back when we were youths. Deep down in our hearts, we always knew the truth. Bullies rise up like no cut on a sack. In this fight to be victorious, when family has your back, so sing it. We are family. Come on, Grand Prairie. No matter what we do, you'll be there for me. How will we? Come on, let Calgary hear you. No matter what we do, you'll be there for me. I will be there for you. Spring by my spring by my we are family. No matter what we do, you'll be there for me. I will be there for you. We are family. No matter what we do, you'll be there for me, and I will be there for you. We are family. 'Cause I love you. No matter what my father, my mother hurts, you'll be there. All my sisters, my brothers, I love you. Come on, Grand Prairie. Make some noise, everybody. I'm on determined. Big up yourself. Can't see your best. Everybody for coming out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Give yourselves a round of applause for being amazing.
Great job, guys. Fantastic sample of your work, and thanks so much for representing Grand Prairie the way that you do, very proudly. I don't know if you had anything else to add. I don't see anybody else in the queue. Nice.
I'd just like to mention, out of that fundraiser, when I crunched numbers between what Calgary raised for the big concert that they did and what Grand Prairie raised, we actually raised more money per capita than they did.
Yeah.
So Grand Prairians are great.
Which we were also part of the Calgary fundraiser, the only out of Calgary band to play out of what, 20 bands in all,
Bands, yeah.
including Nickelback and Jan Arden, Loverboy, a bunch of big ones. But we're the only non-Calgarian area.
Great. Well,
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
guys. Thanks for the update and best of luck with the tour. So by all means, come by over the next week or so. Come to City Hall. We can make an appointment and come up to the mayor's office, and we'll make sure we get you outfitted with some Grand Prairie swag to take over with you.
Sounds fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. So as I said, this is the delegation portion. Anybody in the community can come forward and update council on any community-related matter. We have this as a regular part of any of our city council meetings, so we want to make sure that all the public knows that you're more than welcome to come and address council at any one of our regular standing meetings. I don't see anybody else coming forward, so I'll close the delegation portion of our agenda, and we'd move on into public hearings. I call to order the public hearing for bylaw C-1260-2, an application to amend the land use bylaw. And I would look for an introduction from administration. Mr. Wright.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Given, members of City Council. My name is Stuart Wright, planner with the City of Grand Prairie. Bylaw C-1260-2 is a request to amend the land use bylaw. For Council's information, just a brief recap. Council gave first reading to this bylaw on December the 9th, 2013, and established January 13th, 2014 as the date for the public hearing. At the January 13th meeting, following a presentation from the applicant and a concerned landowner, Council agreed to the applicant's request to recess the public hearing until February 24th, 2014. Following that, the interested landowners who responded to the notification process were informed about the public hearing continuing tonight. Last week, administration received a request from the applicant for council to consider tabling third reading of this bylaw if council is mindful to support the application. Again, as before, the request is not related to the land use matters. It's outside of these considerations, but the applicant is here this evening if council needs further clarification as to the request to delay third reading. Since this is now continuing the public hearing process, unless council wants to hear from the applicant, administration would request to continue with the introduction, complete that side of things, answer any questions for council. Of course, if there are any members of the neighbourhood in attendance that want to speak for or against this, for council to hear that, and also to hear from the applicant and just wrap up that portion. That was the request from the applicant. Administration is supportive. So if council has no objections, I will continue with the brief introduction to this request. Okay. So the proposal, it's a request for 10521 84th Avenue and the southern portion of 10511 84th Avenue to be rezoned from its current zone of local commercial district to medium density residential. Just to confirm the location, this is Mission Heights Manor, which is a 4-storey apartment building in existence, Fast Gas and Max, and further to the west here is the No Frills store. To the north is the Canfor development. So the actual request that's coming forward is to rezone. What this slide is showing is first the existing zoning. So CL is the local commercial, which does include the subject parcels, which are identified in red. And RM is the medium density residential for the existing apartment building. And then zoning to the south is general residential and small lot residential, typically for single family residential dwellings. The proposal that has come forward is to rezone the parcels to medium density residential as shown here. For council's information, the intent being that typically to buffer from 84th Avenue, with the local commercial zone in medium density zoning that's in existence, that would normally buffer to move towards single family residential dwellings, which obviously exist further to the south. The proposal is in accordance with the municipal development plan, and council certainly seeks for infill development and also the Mission Heights area structure plan. There's no conflicts with that document. Administration had notified internal departments and external agencies with respect to this request. There were no concerns, objections from internal departments. Just for council's information, there was initially concern expressed by Aquaterra that there may need to be some on-site services provided, concerned there wasn't existing capacity to accommodate this development. Administration did notify the applicant, who took this up with Aquaterra and did resolve the matter to both parties' satisfaction, but as will be indicated shortly by administration, there certainly was a concern, the fact that the development administration understands that the landowner wants to propose on this property, it can almost be accommodated through the existing zoning. So for a concern being expressed that there wasn't servicing capacity and that the landowner may have to pay for on-site provision was certainly concerning to administration. So with respect to the actual zoning districts, just to identify for council the existing district, local commercial, what's highlighted here for you in yellow is to indicate that a mixed use apartment is actually a permitted use in the current land use district. The provisions of the mixed use apartment, the definition requires commercial, retail or institutional use to be incorporated into the development. As council will note from the existing district in the site standards below, building height a maximum 4 stories for commercial, residential, mixed use buildings. Although it's not part of the rezoning process specifically, administration understands that that the landowner does want to develop a 4-story building, however, does not want to incorporate a commercial element into the project. Hence, the need for the rezoning request to go to medium density residential district. And as council will note from the proposed district, apartment building up to 4 stories in height and so basically everything in terms of sort of the bulk, the height and the activities on the property can almost be accommodated under the existing zoning district with just permit approval. And it's just that commercial element why the request has come forward to rezone. In respect of the neighbouring landowner comments, notifications, as council will recall, gentleman Mr. Gino Serbu attended the meeting on January 13th, and also in council's package there is correspondence between a gentleman by the name of Lucas Dixon and administration through email with respect to this proposal. So the issues that were identified, concerned about proposed entrance exit locations to serve the development on the subject property, concern about crime and vandalism in the area, and also concern about devaluation of neighbouring properties. So the applicant did address some of these matters with council on January the 13th. Administration is still in the same position in terms of recommendation that the proposed amendment is reasonable. It's just going to take out a potential commercial element from the project, and administration certainly supports second and third reading, which is in your report at the moment. But as mentioned, that if council is mindful and if they do want to hear from the applicant, there is a request to actually table the third reading to a future date that would be confirmed by the applicant. So that concludes administration's presentation, and certainly available, obviously, to answer any questions from council.
Thanks very much, Mr. Wright. See Councillor Rice in the queue. Councillor Rice.
I just want to confirm that tonight we're dealing with simply rezoning. We're just doing rezoning. Should the applicant proceed with what we believe he is going to proceed with, it would not come back to us because it would then be a permitted use, correct?
I believe so, but Mr. Wright, is that correct?
Mayor Given, yep, Councillor Rice, that's exactly correct. As a permitted use, you're dealing with the rezoning, then it would go through a process thereafter, and permitted use, if it meets all the standards, provisions of the land use bylaw, it would be approved by administration.
Thank you.
Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Just, I know we're dealing with rezoning. I just had a question. I don't know who could, Stuart, if you answer that or not. On 4 stories, would that be an elevator in the building with code, or is it, how do they perceive that? Or do they put a level on the bottom, and then that type of building, will there be an elevator in it?
Mayor Given, Councillor McLean, my understanding would be that there would be a need for an elevator, but also maybe the applicant, if he sort of wanted to clarify on that front, anything different from what I understand.
Any other questions, Councillor McLean?
Just one other one. Thank you, Mayor Given. There was concern about the road, and you can see congested. The apartment building there is now works really good, how it comes between 2 homes. Has it been configured on this side? I haven't seen it here. I know we're asking for rezoning, but one area is going to be commercial, but there's going to be all living now. Is it going to be like coming right out to the Mission Heights Road or coming out to 84th? Has that, and just a question, I know we're asking for rezoning for commercial to living space, but I don't see nothing here showing where the road would come out for the access.
Mayor Given, Councillor McLean has best through the discussions with the applicant for the site plans and the issues as best I can explain. And again, maybe he can clarify the actual position, but the understanding being a right in, right out on 84th Avenue to share with an existing access, which is for the Fast Gas and the Mac store, and also a second access exit point from Mission Heights Drive. So it wouldn't be to go across and go out where the existing apartment does, because from what I understand, that is actually property that's now outside of the landowner's control. So this would be to go onto Mission Heights Drive as an option, but right in, right out onto 84th Avenue.
Thanks, Councillor McLean. I don't see anybody else in the queue with questions for administration, so we'll open up the presentation submission portion of the public hearing. I'd ask for anybody in attendance that wanted to speak in support of the application. I see one person raising their hand. Come on forward. Come forward to the presenter's table. Introduce yourself and who you're representing, and welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Given and Grand Prairie City Council. My name is Dan Wong. I represent the applicant in this matter. I work with Bairstow Laners and Ketchum Engineering. So I'll be able to answer some of the questions, and I also want to speak to the request to table third reading. Administration has done a really good job at explaining the request for rezoning and why our client has decided to eliminate the commercial portion. It's just the commercial just isn't viable in that area anymore, and there's several vacant properties around or in that vicinity that have a leasable space that they aren't able to fill anymore. The accesses are meant to be joint with the existing ones that are already there. Basically, the way the land is subdivided, it will allow the Mac store to own one of the accesses, and this apartment complex will own the other access, but they have a joint access agreement, so they will share both accesses. In answering the question about whether or not this will have an elevator, yes, by building code requires a 4-story building to have an elevator. So I'm just going to go straight into our request. Basically, we asked for one delay already, and we're going to have to ask for another one, unfortunately. There was a number of business processes that had to be completed between subdivision and rezoning. This subdivision has been really problematic. We've run across a number of issues with every single utility that you can think of. So we started this process back in May. We finally got them all worked out, submitted everything to land titles, and it turns out that there was a clerical error back in 1999, which ended up adding up the land parcels incorrectly. So because that happened, it came back with the wrong land mass, and when our client went to split the title to 2 different companies, he found he couldn't legally register it. So we've sent it back. It's come back now, but there still needs a little bit of time to finish off that process. It will cause a significant financial burden to him if the rezoning beats his other his business processes. So in the interest of getting everything finished and making sure that administration doesn't have to do any more work, we're asking that you consider your second reading, or close off all your business, consider your second reading, and depending on the result of that, we're really asking if you can table third reading until March 24th. So give us 1 month, we'll finish it off. That'll be the last delay we're asking for. We are working on drawings right now. We're working with administration on the development permit, and that process seems to be working really well. This holds us up, and we know that it's our own, it's our fault that we have to deal with that. So, this is really, no one's going to hold the city accountable for delaying this 1 month. Our applicant really needs this to happen. in the right order, and that's what we're going to be asking for.
Thanks very much, Mr. Wong, for the presentation. Any questions for Mr. Wong? Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. Hello, Dan. I'm really glad about the elevator because a lot of the buildings get built with 3 stories and it's all stairs and moving in and out. I think that's a very positive step by the developer and the person building this. If everything goes to plan, would they be digging and starting to build this summer?
Yes, that's the plan, and that's why we kind of jumped the gun and started this process so quickly. Is we want to make sure we're going to make it for the construction season, and in order for that to happen, things have to fall right in place. And it seems like this project is jinxed, but we're really working hard to keep it on track.
Thank you, Dan.
Any further questions for the delegation? Okay, I don't see anybody else with any questions. Councillor Logan.
I know that the request was made to have this tabled to 3rd reading, but if there is actual input and discussion, that's more appropriate at 2nd reading. So bearing that in mind, and you can correct me, I would move that we delay. There is 2nd reading already, isn't there? The 3rd reading of the motion.
Well, so we haven't had 2nd reading yet. I believe, and Councillor Logan, I think where you're going is if we close the public hearing, then we can't introduce any additional information if there happens to be anything that comes up. And so what was your intent to, not to adjourn, to recess the public hearing until March 24th, which would accomplish the same thing. That was your intent, was recess? Okay. Okay, so that motion would certainly be in order, would basically keep the public hearing open so that if administration or the applicant or the public had any additional information, the next time we would hear this, we'd start off with the public hearing. Anybody could say whatever they needed to. That process would be closed off, and then we move into 2nd and 3rd readings. So rather than closing the process and then just coming back for 3rd and final reading. So slightly different than what the applicant was asking for. So, but that motion is in order. Discussion and debate on the motion to recess the public hearing to March 24th. Councillor Rice.
Reading. All of the people who responded and had concerns were notified that this evening was when there was their opportunity to be heard, and they responded to that notification. And I think if you complicate it by recessing it, you run the risk of missing someone who you would have notified. So I think it's cleaner if you have 2nd reading and then recess 3rd reading to March 24th.
Okay, thanks. And I know we'll go back and forth between the terms, but just to be clear, if we were going to, Councillor Rice's suggestion, we'd actually table 3rd reading to March 24th. We wouldn't recess it, but just because they do mean different things. Okay, so discussion and debate still on Councillor Logan's motion. I see Councillor Logan.
Speak to close debate, please.
Sure, I don't see anybody else in the queue to speak to your motion. Go ahead.
I have a diametrically opposite view from Councillor Rice. I believe that there are lots of things that could be dragging from where the process is right at this point, and we may be prejudicing people that may come forward as they look at this. And then that would turn the developer back to restarting the entire process. So I think this is wise, not only for the people that are interested in seeing how this goes, but for the developers themselves.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Logan. So I don't see anybody else in the queue for discussion debate on the motion to recess. I will call for the vote. A vote in favor would mean that we would recess the public hearing and reopen the public hearing on March 24th. Okay, so I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion does not carry on a tied vote. We're one councillor short tonight, so that motion does not carry. Councillor Rice.
I would move that we recess the. Oh no, I move 2nd reading. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Then if the motion to recess the public hearing, which was to keep the public hearing going, didn't pass, so then I would look and see if there's anybody here to speak in opposition to the proposal. I'd call again to see if there's anybody here to speak in opposition to the proposal. This is the second time we've had an opportunity to do that. Mr. Wright, was there something that you wanted to note?
Thank you, Mayor Given. Yeah, just for clarification for Council's information that administration has reviewed planning law procedures that in terms of re-notification, administration is not required to request notices in the local newspaper, on site, or notify surrounding landowners apart from those that had come forward and expressed an interest following a public hearing or recess for public hearing. So, as administration mentioned earlier, there were 2 people in particular that were notified about tonight's date, and if the public hearing is recessed, administration would probably do that just to cover matters, to notify those 2 people again, but otherwise the intent wouldn't be to send out notices to surrounding landowners or put anything in the newspaper because we are not required to do so.
Clarify, Mr. Wright, administration wouldn't do that because that process has already happened. Administration and the applicant have already done all the notification that's required under law.
That's correct, Mayor Given, and that is the requirement then to follow up on that. If anyone does come forward and shows interest, then they are required to be re-notified of a revised date if there is a recess for public hearing. And those 2 gentlemen were both notified about the public hearing this evening.
Okay, thank you. And so thanks for the update on the additional information about public advertising that has happened to this point on this issue. I don't see anybody else coming forward. I'll call a third and final time if there's anybody else who would like to come forward to speak in opposition to the proposal. I don't see anybody coming forward, so I'd close the public hearing and I'd look for motions arising. Councillor Rice.
I move second reading of bylaw C-1260-2.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. So a motion for second reading on the land use bylaw amendments. Open for discussion and debate. I see nobody ringing in, so I'll call for the vote. That motion carries. Councillor Rice.
I would move that we recess third reading to March 24th.
Okay, then I'll just in terms of terms, we'll maybe use the term postpone.
Okay, I move that we postpone third reading to March 24th.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Rice. So that motion is open for discussion debate, I think, as to date. See nobody ringing in. I'll call for the vote. That motion carries. And so third reading has been postponed and would come back at that future council meeting on March 24th. And that finishes all of our public hearing business. Councillor Logan, did you have something further?
Yes, I'm sorry, I wasn't quite quick enough to before you close that off, but if you could just educate me on what will be possible to in the form of any debate, discussion, or additional information on third reading. My understanding is basically zilch, but
I believe my understanding is correct. No additional information could be introduced, but council can discuss and debate the merits of third reading. So I think anytime council votes, there's an opportunity for discussion, generally, and certainly with third reading of these public hearings there is, but no new information would be able to be considered by council. Okay. Don't see anybody else in the queue, and that was our last piece of public hearing business for this evening. We had no items of unfinished business, no reports, and that takes us right into community business. And 9.1, the Arts Development Committee. Councillor Tarrant, I think that was your committee.
Thank you, Mayor Given. So we have the minutes before us. We were able to give out some funding to several arts groups there, and we were very pleased to do it. We also held back $5,000 for applications that come later in the year, so there is a little bit of flexibility at that time. So with that, I will move that we accept the minutes for the Arts Development Committee. February 5th, 2014.
Thanks very much, Councillor Tarrant. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Anyone note anything out of order? Seeing nobody ringing in, then I will call for the vote. Motion carries. Councillor Tarrant, anything that you wanted to highlight other than the bits that you just shared?
I think you can see where the funding went. I think it's some great organizations. I'm very pleased that we were able to support them. I will add one thing, though. We talked about at the committee level that we're going to be looking at possibly seeing if the fund needs a revamp as we go into a budget cycle, seeing if the fund is actually meeting the arts needs of the community, see if the allocations are right. And so we're going to be having that discussion at the next meeting to see if we want to make a recommendation to community living. So.
Thanks very much, Councillor Tarrant. We move to 9.2, the Community Growth Committee from February 11th. Councillor O'Toole, I think that was your set of minutes.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. I'd like to recommend that I would recommend that council receive the minutes of the Community Growth Committee held February 11th, 2014.
Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? I see nobody ringing in, so I will call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor O'Toole?
Yes, 9.2.1, the Community Garden, Grand Prairie Community Garden. There's a recommendation there for the council to approve the continuation of the community garden at its current location until the land is required by the city of Grand Prairie. So just to speak on that, the community garden people that have been in Grand Prairie for a number of years, they've had the community garden for 3 years at that location, and they spoke at committee about where the food and flowers and all that stuff was distributed throughout the city and to the agencies that received it, and they'd like to see this garden still in place until there's a time where they have to be moved.
Very much, Councillor O'Toole. So that was a motion.
Yes.
That's a motion. Okay. Thank you. Can I see Councillor Rice? Thank you. Councillor Rice?
How many volunteers, non-city staff, actually put time in at the community garden?
It was mentioned at the meeting that there's numerous volunteers from all ages, not only just the seniors, but the youth are involved as well, and members of the community.
I would find it interesting at a future committee if they clarified numerous.
There's about 6 that are there all the time, and I think the number jumps up to 20 at times.
Thank you.
Councillor Clayton?
If I recall, they had a list of volunteers that totaled 70 names. There are, as with many nonprofit organizations and volunteer groups, primary few that do most of the work, but they felt like they had a pretty good list of people they could call on for help.
Any further discussion or debate? Questions or comments? Nobody ringing in, so I'll call for the vote on that motion. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor O'Toole?
I've got one more recommendation. The council formally support the concept of the Fort McMurray to Peace River Transportation and Utility Corridor. It's known as a TUC, linking the two regions. So we've had a letter of support asked for us, and to bring it forward to this meeting to discuss.
So that was your motion?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Open for discussion and debate on this recommendation or motion for formal support of that transportation and utility corridor. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'm totally in support of this. Fort Murray is supposed to double its capacity of oil output within 15 years. And I can remember they had an award one time a few years back, could have been a decade. It was Safe City, and they had that major fire because they only have one major road in, unless it's the winter time when they have a freezing over a river. And the amount of money going on that and what it produces for Canada and not have another corridor of getting everything out is just ridiculous. And we're actually kind of trying to catch up on something that should have been cut up years ago. So I'm totally in favor of it. And I don't think just on this it'd be just taxpayers' money. You think some of the people coming in with billions would help support highway to move their goods. So thank you. I'm totally in support.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. Councillor Logan.
Yes. I was curious to know where the request came from. Was it from the municipalities, the province, one of the municipalities, non-profit organization? Who was it from?
Councillor O'Toole, do you want to speak to that?
It was Mr. Jay McLaughlin. He's a consultant with McLaughlin Business Enterprises. And there's a lot of businesses in the north that do an exceptional amount of business from the Peace River area to the Fort McMurray area. And if they can cut off 8 or 10 hours of transportation, it would save everybody money. So that is the proposal, that we put not only pipelines, power lines, roadways, and that would be the corridor. The plan is not necessarily come up with 100%. There's no route designed yet, but the process is to get something there on paper that we can start a discussion.
Who signed the request?
I think Mr. McLaughlin that Councillor O'Toole mentioned is actually working on behalf of Northern Alberta Development Council, and they're sort of leading the charge on this and taking the temperature, so to speak, of all of the affected municipalities of the north to see if what the support level is. And so it's really being led by the Northern Alberta Development Council.
If I could just ask a quick follow-up question then, is there, have they surveyed other municipalities in the area? Is there a particular reason why Peace River's the one at this point? I mean, there's others that would be possible, you would think, for linking.
In terms of determining the route, Councillor Logan, if that's, where the route should go, is that what you're saying from Fort McMurray to Peace River? There was no indication of that in the letter except to say that the exact route has not been determined. They did speak about the Fort McMurray region and the Peace River region, so I don't know that it was that fixed at either point. But I think in terms of surveying the municipalities, this is really just that very starting initial step. Councillor Rice?
The perfectly good reason to support this is that it creates incredible economic development potential for our area. When we can start delivering goods and services more efficiently throughout the north.
Councillor Rice, Councillor O'Toole.
Yes, I just want to highlight one. Do we want to vote on that?
Pardon me, Councillor O'Toole?
Do we want to vote on that, sir?
Well, you're in the queue, so I was wondering if you're still wanting to speak to that one, or if there's...
I just got one more that I'd like to talk about.
Okay, so we will vote on that first. You're in the queue, and so I thought you wanted to speak to that item.
Okay.
No?
I'm not in the queue no more.
Okay, is there anybody else that'd like to speak to this item? No, I see nothing else, then I will call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor O'Toole, is there anything else in that meeting that you wanted to highlight?
Yes, I do. We had a little discussion on information on the website pertaining to costs and delivery services from our different departments. And it's in the process right now where a person wants to know how much money we spend on snow removal or cutting grass or sidewalks in a particular year. The information is there, but it's a little bit more difficult. So we were going to hope to work with IT and come up with a little bit more relative information that's easier to access.
Great. Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. We'd move on then to 9.3, Community Living, and Councillor Radburn, I think that was your committee.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I would move council receive the minutes of the Community Living Committee meeting held February 11th, 2014.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Did anybody note anything out of place? Well, looks like nothing, so I will call for the vote. Motion carries. Councillor Radburn, anything you wanted to highlight from that set of minutes?
For sure. Thank you, Mayor Given. Just to give you some highlights of the committee meeting, we had a couple of delegations, first from the Grand Prairie Live Theatre, board and manager. They had 4 asks or wanted to state 4 positions on on certain things. One, they asked for the extension of their lease for their present facility, and they asked for city to consider looking at the Wyburn building or other alternatives to expand their rehearsal and storage space. Those two requests were, a motion was made to refer those two items to administration to work with the group on those. They asked for continued financial assistance for their technical director position for the years 2015 and 2016. And that was by motion referred to this fall's budget deliberations. When we'll be looking at the 2015 to 2017 budget, I guess. And then finally, the fourth was they reiterated their, as they have in the past, their encouragement to continue to not have paid parking in their outside, in the parking lot in front of their building. So that was received informally for information since we knew that position from before. The second allegation was the Montview Neighborhood Association, who were seeking some support for their outdoor fitness park project. And their administration will be helping them with a couple of sources of potential funding, one being the financial support through the Neighborhood Enhancement Grant, and there's also a playground through a grant through parks. So there will be help through that process. And they asked for support for a grant for asking or seeking other grants. And the committee gave that support, and I believe is working with the mayor in terms of a letter of support. And finally, we received the Homelessness Initiative Annual Report for information. Thank you, Mayor Given.
Great. Thanks very much, Councillor Radburn. We'll move on to 9.4, Community Safety Committee, and Councillor McLean. I believe that was your set of minutes. Want to make the motion to receive them?
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'd like to move council receive the minutes of the Community Safety Committee meeting held February 18, 2014.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Councillor Rice? Oh, you'll wait till after. Okay, thanks very much. Seeing nobody ringing in on the minutes, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'd like to move that council approve the renewal of the existing fire dispatch agreements.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. Discussion or debate. Councillor Rice?
Just would like to point out that Grand Prairie has several contracts on dispatch services. They have an excellent reputation throughout northern Alberta for providing very efficient dispatch services. It's a very good source of revenue for the city, and I commend the department on that initiative.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. This, Councillor McLean, this was a batch of municipal contracts, if I'm correct, that had run their 5-year term and they're moving into another 5-year term. Is that
Yes, it is, Mayor Given, and they're just putting everything together, and it's not extending any. The workforce they have is to be able to complete everything. As you might have heard lately, there's been some new ones that came on board, and everything falls within the existing system.
They still have the capacity
to
deliver.
Without hiring new staff.
Great. Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor McLean, anything else you want to highlight from that set of minutes?
Thank you, Mayor Given. Yes, I do, as well as Mr. Matt Hinton did the report on the 2014 capital projects, which is anybody can see online, has a total map of the city of Grand Prairie and what they're proceeding to happen. And some of the questions that were asked was over by the airport, Grand Prairie Airport, across the street where the ATCO Power Building is. It's going to be rebuilt and maybe not possibly paved this year, but next year. And it's supposed to be this year going in for lights, but that's not on the map because it's provincial jurisdiction. So those questions were brought up. So we are really hoping the lights will go in by the provincial government this summer. And another couple questions were to deal with a few areas around, but anybody can get on the City of Grand Prairie webpage and look at this map, and it's really will let you know where the sidewalk improvements are, where maybe new fresh lay of pavements happening, or a complete rebuild of the road. So I thought that was very well done by Mr. Hinton.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. We move on to 9.5, the Corporate Services Committee, and Councillor O'Toole, I think you handled that meeting, didn't you?
Yes, I did, Mayor Given. I move that council receive the minutes for the Corporate Services Committee meeting held February 18th, 2014.
Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Looks like there's nothing for us to catch in terms of errors, so I will call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor O'Toole?
Yes, I got 9.5.1.
Thanks. I see Councillor Rice in the queue. Councillor Rice? Councillor Rice will declare conflict and will leave council chambers. Just give a second here to reset. Councillor O'Toole?
I can just tell you some stuff that went on in the meeting. We had our...
So we still have that motion, Councillor O'Toole,
Yep.
so if you can make the motion.
Okay. Council review the 2014 Business Revitalization Zone budget in council chambers on Monday, March 10th, 2014 at 6:30 p.m.
Okay. Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Any discussion or debate on that motion? I don't see anybody ringing in. I'll call for the vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. If we could call back Councillor Rice and take her seat. And Councillor O'Toole, was there anything else that you want to highlight from that set of minutes?
Yes, every year we go through an audit, financial audit, and this year the auditors came to do a presentation and ask the administration if there was areas of concern that they would like to look at during this particular audit. This is a yearly process that we do all the time, and we gave them a report and pretty much done deal that way. We also talked about the Business Revitalization Zone, Downtown Association, and basically what their strategic plan was for the next year.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Councillor Logan.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Councillor O'Toole for handling this matter, seeing as I was unable to be present to chair it. And secondly, I wanted to, it looks like the gentleman who had appeared in front of council to ask on the, inquire on the Aquaterra water rates did not show up at that meeting. And if that was in fact the case, and I see that it's tabled to the next meeting, could we ensure that at least a phone call would be made to that individual? I'm sure the information was left here because he did address council itself. And if he doesn't show up then, well, then we'll know that there's not much point in carrying on with the discussion.
Okay. Well, we can talk to administration. I think at the committee meeting, Councillor Logan, we had actually tabled it thinking that you wanted to discuss the process in which council used to forward resident information like that delegation. So if the intent was to contact the resident to give them another opportunity to bring that forward, I'm sure we can look at that administratively. Okay. Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Logan. So we'll move to 9.6, Special Community Living Committee. Councillor Radburn, that's from this evening.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I would move that council award RFP 01-434-14 Sport Field Parking Lot Road Upgrades and Site Grading and Construction to ISL Engineering and Land Services Limited as the highest evaluated proponent successfully meeting request for proposal specifications in the amount of $332,447, exclusive of goods and services tax. In speaking to the motion, Mayor Given, this is all about, this award provides these services: preliminary engineering, detailed designs, tender preparation, project management, construction, inspection, and contract administration, post-construction warranty and repair, and supervision of the project. And the project encompasses the following components: geometric improvement to the CKC roadways, energized parking lot, 120 parking lot, grading of the west field area, construction of the remaining parking on the west field, and completion of a synthetic football field. So I've outlined the services that are being provided for those amount of money. However, obviously the project is I think it's actually over a $5 million project that has the components as I outlined earlier. Thank you, Mayor Gibbon.
Thanks very much, Councillor Radbourne. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Councillor Logan.
Thank you. I sat in as an observer on the committee meeting, and one of the things that I must admit, surprised me a bit was how we had over $5 million of projects, very different types of projects lumped together under one sort of big project. And I'm a little curious as to why we didn't divide up some of these projects such that we would be having an opportunity of having additional engineering bids and perhaps coming up with a lower overall total, but also possibly so that we would get bids that would be done better by a particular engineering company over the one that won the overall bid. Because just look at the list that Councillor Radbourne mentioned. There's quite a wide variety of things in there.
Any other discussion or debate? No. Councillor Logan, if you want to direct that question to administration, were you looking for a response from administration on that one? Councillor Logan?
That might be of use, but if nobody else is interested, well, I'll just go home.
I see the Director of Community Living, Mr. Roth, is ready to respond. Gary?
Your Worship, when administration looked at it from an engineering perspective, there are several different components, but they are all located physically side by side. And from an administrative perspective, we saw the need to make sure that the components work together with one another. So grading on one area, for example, has to coincide with the grading on other. If you have different engineering contractors working on different pieces, there would still have to be a lot of coordination between the two. Certainly engineering firms did have the opportunity, if they did not, were not a specialist in one area, such as in the sports field construction area, to certainly work with a subcontractor, sub-trade, to make sure that that is covered in their bid.
Mr. Roth, Councillor Logan.
That was a good clarification. Follow-up question, and maybe you sort of alluded to it at the end of your comments before, but I'm not sure that you did. So who will we now see doing that coordination, seeing as it's a number of different companies with different capabilities and specialties? Who will be ensuring that that cooperation, coordination rather, is done?
Mr. Roth?
Horrible negative shaking there, but I do believe there has to be some coordination, and so who's doing it?
So the bid for the engineering and the project oversight is to one company, ISL, Engineering and Land Services. That is the recommendation that council award the tender to, and that company would not only look after the engineering, but any coordination that would be required on site as part of the project management.
Okay, thanks very much, Mr. Roth. Any further discussion or debate on the motion for this recommendation? Seeing nobody else in the queue, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. That motion carries. I don't believe we had any other items of committee business. No items of correspondence. We did have one delegation, and look for a motion to either receive information or any other action coming out of that. Councillor Rice?
The motion to reflect that they should coordinate with your office on souvenirs or just receive for information?
I think we can probably just
we'll receive the delegation for information.
Thanks, Councillor Rice. Certainly the Mayor's office does this from time to time if people even just call up, so we certainly don't need a motion to be able to support a community group like that. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Thank you. Motion carries. We had no notices of motion tonight, and that'd take us to council member reports. We'll start off with Centre 2000, Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Gibbon. We did have a Centre 2000 board meeting here this month, and just to give you a heads up, we had a number of tenants that have moved about in the building. And so some tenants needed more room and some didn't need as much anymore. So that process is going through, and the Chamber of Commerce is now not on the top floor, it's on the main floor. Another thing that's gone up in the budget that was discussed was new rugs being installed, and they will be installed over the next 4 or 5 months. This will allow scheduling and making sure that they can all be done in an efficient manner. So whenever they don't have any events booked, they're going to get the rugs done.
Thanks very much, Councillor Toole. And Councillor Toole, I think you had the next one as well, the Disabled Transportation Society.
Yes, we had our AGM yesterday, and I'll have a complete report to the next council meeting, but we did have some members that resigned from the board for a number of reasons, but we've got a full board, a new slate as we are going forward. We have a meeting on Wednesday and to discuss who's going to take over the chairmanship. So didn't really want to give a lot of information out, but next report will be that information will given.
Thanks very much, Councillor Toole. Just to change things up, we'll go to the Peace Airshed Zone. Councillor McLean, you want to get your microphone?
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. It was my first meeting for PAZA, and lots to learn. And it was very good because even they've had changes in their board as elected officials. There was a 50% change in Alberta, so you will have changes on boards all throughout. But they also had changes within staffing as well, so they're working through that from when I noticed my first meeting. And a few other things that was brought up was a City of GP proposal came to them for a tire pressure clinic. And then we're also, I believe they checked the emissions from vehicles, which they did a few years ago, which I was involved in. And it was voted yes to to help any way they can within that. So that was a positive step. And one of the things I got was from the PAZA group, there's a few different areas in Alberta, but they're doing good financially, in good shape in this area. And they might be looking at the city down the road for direction from the city of, as a region area, helping out, which I think is very positive since we are a hub of Northwest and we are a region, we're one. So I thought that was positive, but lots to learn. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. That was enough of a change. Councillor O'Toole, do you want to go again with the Philip J. Currie Dinosaur Museum?
Sure. Thank you very much, Mayor Given. I can just let you know that Growing the North had a conference this last week, and Philip J. Currie had a display set up in the foyer, and a lot of companies from Western Canada were there, CEOs, and it really did good. I know they were engaged in a lot of conversation, and looks like some funding sources have been found, so that's a good thing. And I can tell you that Harley-Davidson Canada looks like they're coming on board as well. The Harley Owners Group, the Hogs, will be hosting an event this year. Harley Owners Group, they usually have rides in major centers throughout Canada, United States, basically all over the world. They've never had one up here in Northern Alberta. So Harley-Davidson is putting the bug in everybody's ear to have a ride up here, and you will see probably 1,000 to 1,200 riders this summer for a one-day ride in the Peace Country. So that'd be quite interesting. Yeah. And also talks were with the Edmonton International Airport. They've got some space that they would really like to show off, some dinosaur bones, something to do with the Philip J. Currie Museum. They want to promote this at their airport. So I met with the Grand Prairie Regional Airport CEO. We also talked with the Edmonton International Airport and the Philip J. Currie Group, and we are going to pursue some bones and artifacts from the Royal Tyrrell. Royal Tyrrell is on board with this, so we're working in partnerships. That's enough for tonight.
Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. And finally, to finish off, Grand Prairie Sport Council, Councillor Clayton, I believe you had your first meeting. And after you finish up that, we'll start with the council member roundtable with you as well. Councillor Clayton.
Thank you, Mayor Given. We had our first meeting. It was a good meeting. It was great to discuss plans with our executive director, who has definitely hit the ground running. She's met with 2 other sport councils across the province and got some great information. We started with our strategies and strategic planning, as well as logo design company has been picked. The website company design has been picked. So it looks like we're going to be a very busy organization, and really look forward to working with all the different sport groups around Grand Prairie. There seems to be good representation from sport as well as municipalities, and I look forward to working further with that group. In regards to roundtable, do you want me to start?
Please.
Okay. Attended the Grow the North that Councillor O'Toole referred to. It was a great event with joint cooperation. The Chamber of Commerce did a great job putting forward with excellent speakers, and very well attended. I also attended the Big Hearts for Big Kids event, which did an excellent job again, and led by Tennille, local singing talent. They were able to raise $195,000 for the Sunrise Odyssey Youth Shelter. In regards to this past weekend, I attended the SPCA event, and the numbers aren't out yet, but the event was oversold, and I feel that they probably did very well. So thanks to that organization for working so hard. And just another highlight, yesterday attended the GPRC Ladies Volleyball Wolves ACAC, which is the provincial championship hosted by the local, by GPRC. The Wolves got a silver medal, but they were fortunate to qualify to attend the nationals. So very proud of that team having an excellent semifinal game and going on to be able to attend the nationals. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, Councillor Clayton. Councillor Tarrant.
Thank you, Mayor Given. So as well, attended a number of great events. I'll just highlight a couple of them. I think we had a really productive talk with the UDI, the Urban Development Institute. Talked about a few different issues, and I think we came to some common agreement on some of the things that we are pursuing. So that was great to see there. Growing the North was a great conference, a lot of great speakers. Have very exciting things happening up here, and it was really one of the things that really was a highlight for me was the talk on liquefied natural gas, and Grand Prairie is really, and this area is really leading the charge with that, and we could be an early adapter in the world really with this technology. So that's great. I do want to talk about one event I went to on Saturday night. There was a presentation by an organization called Defend Dignity, and they were talking about some of the prostitution laws. There, federally, there's the Supreme Court, had a ruling last year, and the government has a 1 year to change some of the prostitution laws in Canada. And something that was really good was looking at a municipal level. Although it is criminal law, we do have our crime prevention department was there, and we do have a reportage on program. And I think it was really good to highlight some of the services that are offering there. There's also a great organization, Aurora Home, that is going to be helping people leaving this industry, and they're going to be launching sometime in March. So it was good to see them, taking a role in the community that way. And I look forward to future talks with some of these organizations to end some of the human trafficking and some of the people that are forced into this trade. And I think that municipalities can play, a role in that. So that's great to say.
Thanks very much, Councillor Tarrant. Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Mayor Given. February 11th, I attended a Special Art Gallery of Grand Prairie board meeting where we received information from Mr. Stevens that he was leaving the gallery and joining the City of Grand Prairie staff. So look forward to his contributions in the Culture and Museum Department of the city. February 12th, I attended the morning community conversation on ending homelessness. February 13th, I attended the traffic signals system update by Mr. Kyle, and I attended the meeting council information session with UDI. 14th, I attended the Passionate Hearts Luncheon and Awards, and congratulations to Marge Mueller, who received the Chris Henderson Award for the past year. February 19th, I attended the Infrastructure New School announcement at St. Clement's, where a new Catholic school in Royal Oaks was announced by actually Premier Redford. I attended the Growing North Conference on the 19th and 20th. And on the 21st, there were another couple of information sharing sessions, one with the Grand Prairie Public School District and the other with our MP, Chris Workington. And finally, on Saturday night on the 22nd, I attended the GPRTA Gala and Awards Evening. A special note that Bernie Benson received a Service Superstar Award. Certainly very deserving. Bernie is, I guess, works with Bill primarily, but also works with council as well. And so it's great to see her recognized in this special way. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Redford. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mayor Given. On February 13th, I also was at the introduction of a new traffic system. I'm quite excited about it, even though not too many people might, but I think a lot of truckers and people that movement in the city are going to really see how changes come. They're just starting the first phases, and this will take a year or two to all implement, but within some of the phases they started, it's 20, 30 seconds advancing the traffic more smoothly. So I thought that was very good by Mr. Norm Kyle, and I look forward to it coming through the whole system. As well, February 13th, I attended the UDI Institute meeting, and that went very, very well. As well, on February 19th, I attended the PAZA General Board meeting. February 20th, I also attended, we had a service level workshop at City Hall for all of council, and that went over really, really well. As well, that day, I attended, they're doing a 12-year strategic plan for the RCMP, and they should be finished, maybe coming to council in June, or coming to community safety and then to council about the proceedings and what they figure. As February 21st, I also attended the meeting with the public school board. Some information was wow. And I also attended a tender opening for the city, a couple of them. And the one I thought I was going to be got moved, and Councillor Radburn will be doing it next week for the new tennis court at the Leisure Center, which I was very interested in. Also was there for our local MP, Chris Workington. And today I had the honor to attend a former Councillor Paul Purve's funeral at the Catholic Church. I just know him as Paul from the church because I believe when he was a councillor, I was listening to Blondie and YMCA and Stretch, and I was about 8 or 9, but I'm sure Helen will have more to say about that. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor McLean. Councillor Logan.
Thank you. I attended a number of the events that have already been mentioned. In fact, I've got none left over to speak to that haven't already been spoken to, but I do want to say something about the meeting we had with the school board on the 21st, and the figures that they're looking at for the expansions needed in the school system to handle the onslaught of students coming are truly frightening. We're at a point in looking at growth where it's not a matter of, oh gosh, look at we're really going to grow. It's how are we going to handle this? Because that great increase in the number of students that we're going to have to find, that the boards are going to have to find places for, also mandates a whole bunch of new services of an infrastructure from the municipality to handle that deluge. So it was a very sobering meeting, and it was good that we're sitting down and working together well in advance with partners like the school boards, because this is going to have massive impact on our community.
Thanks very much, Councillor Logan. Councillor Rice.
I attended a 100th anniversary committee meeting. The planning and the different events community groups are coming up with gets more exciting at each meeting. I think it's going to be an absolutely incredibly interesting year for all the families in Grand Prairie. So it's on our website. You can check out all what's happening, and some I said some really unique and interesting events are going to take place this next year. I just wanted to take a minute to give a tribute to Paul Pavere. And I served on council with Paul Paul always brought, he was a true gentleman, and he brought a real zest for life to the table. I used to bug him constantly because every time we went to any council thing, Paul always had to take pictures of us, always had to line us up and take pictures of him. And I used to tell him I was convinced he had no film in the camera because I never saw any of the pictures that he took. But we always had to have our pictures taken. I think one of my my memories that always causes me to chuckle is Paul was taking pictures of council for the pictures that hang on the wall out there, and try as he might, he could not get Alderman Jakes to smile. And he brought out this little yellow rubber ducky and was squeaking it at Wayne. So if you look at Alderman Jake's picture, has a kind of a pained expression on his face. It caused the rest of us to crack up, but he didn't succeed with Wayne. But Paul, as I said, was always very enthusiastic, and I think not just on council, but around the community. And long before some of you were born, he was known as Panda Paul. Panda Camera, one of the first to offer the kind of services it did north of Edmonton. So, we say goodbye today to a real community builder.
Thanks very much, Councillor Rice. I'll try to be brief. I think all the items just about all the items I attended have already been mentioned. I was also in attendance at the community conversation around ending homelessness.
Did you forget Kevin?
Oh.
Go ahead.
No, I always like to have the last word, Councillor O'Toole. So it doesn't always work out with Councillor Rice. She sometimes likes to have it too. But Councillor O'Toole, go ahead. My mistake.
Just to cut it short here, Mayor Given, I did attend 21 meetings and events this last couple of weeks. Most of them were represented in conversation here tonight. But I did want to just throw in a little 2 cents. Al and Betty Reed from Grand Prairie here, their son was the coach for the Japanese Olympic team in women's hockey, and their daughter-in-law, Megan Mickelson, was on Team Canada women's team, and I just wanted to throw that Grand Prairie touch out there. So, thank you.
Councillor O'Toole. And on that note, actually, thank you for reminding me, another Olympic Grand Prairie connection. The coach of the Australian men's aerials team was Grand Prairie product Cord Spiro, who is also a past recipient of Pursuit of Excellence funds. And so he's now in the coaching world in aerials, but coaching at an Olympic level, and his athletes are winning medals. So pretty cool to see that a Pursuit of Excellence athlete has gone on to a career like that. So I think good reminder. I'm glad I let you go first.
There you go.
So I also attended the community conversation on homelessness and the intelligent traffic monitoring system update and the meeting with Urban Developers Institute. One thing that was different that I did, one of the couple things that I did that was different was I attended the Northern Mayors and Reeves caucus in Edmonton, hosted by Edmonton Mayor Don Iveson. Good chance to meet Mayor Iveson and some of the other newly elected mayors and reeves from across the province. As a result of that, I had an opportunity to talk to the mayor of Whitecourt, and Mayor Chichek is going to be coming to Grand Prairie in March. I'm going to be hosting her, and we're going to be talking about growth-related issues. She's interested to see how Grand Prairie has handled it over the last decade or so, as she sees some of those coming to her community as well. I also attended the Grand Prairie Home Builders Association Gala and Awards, and it was a pleasure to present on behalf of the City of Grand Prairie the Innovation in Housing Award for the first time ever. So the City of Grand Prairie was a sponsor of the event this year, but also an award sponsor, and recognizing that our home building industry is important in the community, but there are home builders who are working to push the envelope with regard to innovation. So we certainly appreciate the opportunity to do that. I was also in attendance at the announcement of the new Catholic school made by Premier Redford. Great to see Grand Prairie get the 50th school and that commitment of 50 new schools and 70 renovated ones across the province. I was also in attendance at the Growing the North conference and had an opportunity to give some input into the RCMP strategic planning process. For the first time, the RCMP detachment here is looking to develop a 12-year strategic plan, which would take us through 3 budget cycles for the City of Grand Prairie. For council's information, it was really interesting. The consultant highlighted the fact that this was actually very unusual to see a detachment at the community level be doing this kind of planning. He said that typically it's done at the district or the division level. My understanding is that there may have even been a little bit of reluctance at those upper levels of RCMP management to this. So I just want to give some kudos to our local team here for initiating that process. I was also at the meeting with Grand Prairie Public School District and the meeting with MP Chris Workington and the SBCA Gala. And the last thing that I did just yesterday was attend the second anniversary of GP Soup. GP Soup is a community organization that started after our Love of the Cities event in 2012, thank you. Over the past 2 years, the organization has sponsored a number of different community groups that we've seen around the city, including the Secret Off-Leash Society, which has had a significant impact on the discussion about dog parks in the community. The winner of the evening's funds yesterday was actually Aurora House, that Councillor Tarrant mentioned. And so it was great to see this community organization that sort of sprung up from 2 people sitting together, deciding to get involved, and the number of organizations that they've managed to support over the course of 2 years. So it was great to see sort of that knock-on effect. And that was all I had to report. And so I call our meeting adjourned. Thank you.